Welcome to Operations and Supply Chain University. I'm Jerry Wright. This is Lesson 2, Countermeasures for the 8 Wastes as part of your Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt certification course. So there are countermeasures for each of the 8 wastes. If you watched the first video series for the white belt, there's the 8 wastes. Let's review them again just as a reminder. 1, the first waste is defects, errors, not right the first time, incomplete, unclear, or wrong information. Pretty straightforward. We see that frequently. Overproduction, different concept. When we make things ahead of or in excess of demand, we have to figure out what to do with them because they're not ready to be sold. Maybe we have to store them, move them out of the way. And in many cases, overproduction happens when we don't have all the parts that we need. So sometimes we build up assemblies, we build up other items and then store them until we have the other parts, and then we take them out of storage and then finish the assemblies. Overproduction causes most of the other wastes, including defects. Waiting, this is when we're idle. We're waiting on approvals, we're waiting on information, we're waiting on a signature, we're waiting for an order, waiting for the truck. There's a lot of things that cause waiting. And because we don't want to look like we're just standing there waiting, we go do things that are less important. So waiting is a big challenge and a big waste. Non-utilized talent, this is the 8th waste that was added to the original 7 wastes. Non-utilized talent is when you have ideas, you have creativity or things you could do to make the business run better, the process run smoother or more efficiently or improve quality, but we're not utilizing them. So technically, that's a waste. I always think back to a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Transportation, unnecessary movement of product. Keep in mind, the only transportation that the customer cares about is shipping them what they've asked for. Inventory. So now inventory is technically an asset, but you need money and labor and overhead and parts and everything else to put inventory in the warehouse. So it requires a lot. Now, if you can sell it, then it's an asset. If you have to throw it out, write it off because it's excess or obsolete or no one's buying it, then it's technically a waste. Ideally, we'd make things just as they're ordered in a very short period of time and have no inventory other than maybe raw materials and some work in process. That's the ideal state. Now, motion, this is movement of people, bad ergonomics, walking. Walking around, you're paid for it, but it's not valuable to the customer. So motion is a problem. Searching for things, looking for things, carrying things somewhere, that's all wasted effort. And then finally, extra processing, doing more than the customer requires. Sometimes this is referred to as gold plating or doing extra. The customer is not going to pay for it, so why are you doing it? That's extra processing, doesn't make sense. All right, now here's the good news. Here's the countermeasures. For defects, the countermeasure we have, and one of the things we'll discuss in this course, is mistake proofing, or Poka Yoke. It's basically making the process easier to do right than to do wrong. So mistake proofing is a very powerful tool to limit defects. For overproduction, the best thing we can do is do Kanban. We'll learn about Kanban in this yellow belt course. Kanban basically means visual signal. And for our purpose, we'll say it's visual replenishment only based on usage. So if we don't consume things, we don't order them or we don't replenish them. We only replenish things that have been sold, used, consumed, or otherwise, acted upon. Waiting. One of the best things to eliminate waiting is having one piece flow where we just do one piece or a small batch. So we're always having things in process. We're not waiting for that big batch to get to us so we can work on it. We keep the batches smaller. Ideally, a batch size of 1 is perfect. Sometimes that's hard to hit, but that's the goal. And then that one piece flow or one item flow, we reduce wait time. For non-utilized talent, again, Kaizen, involve everyone in improving every process every day. That's a great way to minimize the challenges of non-utilized talent. Plus, it allows our entire workforce to think about how we can improve the business, improve quality, reduce lead time, all those great things. Transportation, the best way to minimize unnecessary movement of things is having cellular processes or things built in a common work area. We design the processes to be close together so we're not wasting movement, taking things up and down aisles and things like that. Now, inventory, similar to Kanban, pull systems is what we want to use. We replenish what is consumed. We don't build things and then hope someone's going to buy them. We try to build them to order, and we do so quickly. That's the essence of a pull system rather than a push system, and we will discuss that in this course. 7S, so 5S plus the 2 S's, safety and security. So in 7S, everything has a place and everything is in its place. There's no searching. It minimizes motion. It reduces our non-value added time because everything's organized and can be found easily. 7S, great tool, and we'll go over that in this course as well. And then finally, standard work. Standard work is the best agreed upon series of steps to follow to perform a task, okay? Typically, standard work is documented in a visual work instruction, a video, or it could be done in, a PowerPoint or other thing. The worst type of standard work is something that's documented in a very long, wordy document that no one ever reads. We want to try to minimize that. So standard work, very, very important, and a great countermeasure for extra or excess processing. So those are the countermeasures for the 8 wastes. So now let's make this practical. Here's what one of my friends and colleagues, Mark Preston, said, is you need to get out and do what we call, or what he calls, a rattlesnake hunt. Now, I changed rattlesnake to have NVA, so it's not really spelled correctly, but I want the rattlesnake to represent waste. It could be a safety concern, it could be a waste, it's something that could bite you, as Mark would say. So please do not pet the animals, including the rattlesnakes. So what we're going to do, and Mark has popularized this in a book I'll recommend in just a minute, is do a rattlesnake hunt. So you're going to go out and find the rattlesnakes. How you're going to do this is in your Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt Toolkit, there's a waste finder. Here's an example of it right here. If you notice, you see the downtime along the left-hand side, and then all the wastes are identified there. The definition is there in case you need to be reminded. And now you're going to try to find one of each of these things. Look at defects. Oh, I found one. Here it is. Let me describe what it is. Now, is that a high, waste, a high concern? Is it a medium concern, or is it kind of a low or a nuisance concern? Note high, medium, or low, just so we know where the focus needs to go. And then do you have a solution? Great. If you do, put it in the proposed solution column. You're going to put this together and save this because this will play into developing your Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt project that you'll submit for your certification. So here's your 8 wastes assignment. Locate the Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt Toolkit from operationsuniversity.org. Download the Excel workbook if you haven't already done so. Keep in mind there's a small fee required. And then use that downtime waste finder. It's one of the first tabs you'll find. Go to your work area or where you're likely to do your Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt project and enter the process being reviewed and the date reviewed at the top of the sheet. Let me back up so you can see that right there. See process area and date. Okay. So get to that. Then now try to find each one of the 8 wastes, at least each. Sometimes overproduction and inventory are hard for people to identify, but they happen everywhere. And keep in mind, if you're in an office or administrative environment, it's not, inventory can be files. It's not physical inventory. It doesn't have to be boxes or product. It could be files or forms or other things. That's a form of inventory. And overproduction can still be doing things ahead of or in excess of demand. So those could be there. Again, rank each of the wastes as high, medium, or low. Hopefully you find at least 8 of them. And then if you can determine a potential solution to each waste, enter that idea in the far right column. Then save your work so that you can include your waste finder in your project report out as one of the expected items that you have to include in your report out for your Yellow Belt certification. As I mentioned before, Mark Preston, he's based in Peachtree City, Georgia. He likes to refer to himself, and we all call him the Southern Sensei, and he has a wonderful Southern accent. Mark wrote a great book called Southern Sensei, talks about the rattlesnake hunt. Strongly recommend if you like lean and learning about lean and trying to eliminate waste and make products better, have a better organization. This is a great read. Strongly recommend it. All right, that's it for lesson 2. Thank you. And to learn more, remember we have operationsuniversity.org and our YouTube channel seen here. Thank you.